Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Boxing Podcast with your host, Josh Sias. I just wanted to kind of tell you guys something about someone said I was looking at the screen, and you want to know if this is off the top of my head or if I'm reading a script. I literally use my computer screen as a viewfinder. So this is kind of off the top of my head, kind of my thoughts. I sit down and organize them and then kind of give you guys a legitimate feel into what I feel on certain boxing events. So today's episode, it's been a couple days. I'm sorry, I just had some stuff with my family. Took a couple days off to kind of recharge, and I'm really, really excited. But I did watch all the fights, and today's topic is going to be kind of controversial, but at the same time, I think everyone kind of saw what happened on Saturday. Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade took on Liam Williams. Now, Demetrius Andrade, known as the Boogeyman in the division, Boo Boo Andrade, is apparently one of the most avoided fighters in boxing between 154 and 160. Everyone seems to think that Boo Boo Andrade is one of the fighters that can beat anyone in the 160-pound division and the 154-pound divisions. People are saying that people moved up to stay away from him and no one wants to fight him. Okay. Demetrius Andrade this Saturday beat Liam Williams. Quite frankly, if you look at the scorecards, it was a dominant performance. He dropped Liam Williams. He hurt Liam Williams several times. And look, he won. I give him credit. He's a champion at 160. He's a former champion at 154 pounds. However, in this fight, Liam Williams pushed Andrade harder than the scorecards indicated. You saw Andrade come out excited. You saw him trying to make a statement. You saw him come out a little more wild and a little more aggressive than he normally does. Andrade constantly in his form starts quick, catches someone off guard. They're not used to his timing, and he ends up dropping them. And that's exactly what happened in the first round. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Andrade tried going for the kill, and I did like that. I give him credit for trying to be more aggressive, trying to be more of a showman, and trying to steer away from his normal, hey, box first, safe first, move around, make it a very easy fight, but maybe not the most appealing to the casual or to all fight fans, right? But as always, Andrade starts off strong, knocks him down, goes for the kill, and just can't seem to get it. And shout out to Liam Williams for absorbing a lot of punishment because Andrade was throwing the kitchen sink at him. He tried boxing, he tried moving, but occasionally he would come in and throw some heat. That left over the top, it's a little wide, and I think, quite frankly, if you have superior head movement, you could get out the way. But Liam Williams ran right into it. And look, you have to fight who's in front of you. You can't compare him to anyone else. You got to just win in order to be the champion, right? So Andrade is a good fighter, and I give him credit. I like the way he was moving around, using that jab. I like the post that he uses and sets up that nice straight left. But there were times where I felt Liam Williams made Andrade wilt a little bit, where the pressure was getting to Andrade. He got hit with a couple of right hands where at one point Andrade even got hurt, and it it showed that there are some flaws in his game. Now he won the fight. He won it in dominating fashion, and kudos to Boo Boo for that. And at the end of the day, as long as you get the W, you can be a critique. I mean, you can criticize as much as you want, but at the end of the day, he won. I can't sit here and take that away from him. You only have to beat whoever's in front of you. And if no one is going to fight you, quote unquote, you gotta beat whoever's in front of you in order to maintain that championship. But once you start saying that everyone is avoiding you, you're talking about Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about Triple G, you're talking about Charlo, you're talking about upper echelon middleweights and I guess super welterweights or whatever you want to call them. The benchmark and the criticism and the critiques get a little more intense. And I just want to kind of squash some of, in my opinion, ridiculous remarks. I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, this version of Boo Andrade is not a boogeyman to the likes of Canelo Alvarez. Not a boogeyman, in my opinion, to the likes of Charlo. Not a boogeyman, in my opinion, to Triple G. I just don't see it. And not even a boogeyman, in my opinion, to someone like Daniel Jacobs. Andrade is a champion. He has really, really good skills. He's an amateur world titleist, right? He had a great extensive amateur career. He's a multi-divisional champion, and I give him credit. Those are really, really good accomplishments. But at the end of the day, styles make fights. You could have all of the pedigree you want. You can be a wonderful boxer. You can have all the skills. But when you start going up, the tricks, the flash, the cute little stuff that works stops working. And especially when you fight the top of the top, the Canelos of the world, the Triple Gs of the world, even Daniel Jacobs, they've seen the things that Boo Andrade does. I do like that he's tall. I do like that he's rangy. And I do like the fact that at certain times he uses beautiful movement, has very, very good movement, gauge of distance, etc. But after a while, the tricks are going to get figured out. If you know how a trick is done, the magic show no longer has its luster. You kind of lose respect for it and you know what to look for. And I just don't see this version of Boo Andrade beating Canelo. I'm sorry. The wide left shots, the when you're inside, you see him getting really tense, he gets really open, and Canelo's gonna pick you apart, especially when you miss. If you miss against Canelo, you pay. He's been in there with tricky boxers from the Cuban style. Erislandy Lara is a tricky lefty who has a longer reach than Andrade. Believe it or not, I looked it up. I just wanted to make sure. Longer reach than Andrade, very similar angles. Lara has superior movement, in my opinion. He's been in with Austin Trout, who is crafty, very, very tricky, very good angles, very solid fighter, been with a lot of good guys as well. So he's well schooled. I don't see Canelo being tricked over 12 rounds. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Andrade is not going to make it a little hard for Canelo because he's a world champion. But Canelo's at 168. Boo, in my opinion, looks, I'm not going to say small for 160, but you saw that he was a little looser than he normally is at 154. You saw that he wasn't very muscular. Muscles don't win fights, but it does tell you more or less where you stand in terms of natural weight. And personally, Liam Williams was able to push him around a little more, and Canelo's a bigger, naturally stronger guy at 160, in my opinion. I think if he were to fight Triple G, the same thing. Triple G, yes, I'm going to sit here and say that he did look vulnerable against Sergey Devrchenko, but Sergey Devrchenko came with it through a bunch of punches, went forward and wanted to bang with him the Canelo method when he fought Triple G. Triple G got a little exposed in that second fight with Canelo, where if you throw short combinations, you stand with him, you don't back down, use some tricky boxing, go to his body. He's losing a step, so the speed is not there, and you can take advantage of that. I just don't see Andrade being able to do that with Triple G. And if you talk about pressure, Triple G, say what you want. He's not going to come out and try the new style that he's been using where he's boxing around, moving around. He's going to have to come forward and put the pressure on Andrade and break him down, walk him down, and essentially make him wilt. And I'm not going to lie to you, Liam Williams didn't win this fight. There weren't moments where I felt Andrade was completely, utterly dominated, but you started to see the holes. He got hit with a lot of right hands, and he did get hurt by Liam Williams one time that I think if Triple G gets to him or even a Charlo gets to him, walks him down, hits him with a right hand, now you're talking about a different thing, right? You're talking about getting hit with power that is way different than Liam Williams. Liam Williams never really got to throw a hard right hand. Triple G hits hard. Say what you want about, oh, he's getting old, but the man hits like a truck. And I feel the pressure is just different. I don't think the southpaw lefty is going to bother Triple G as much because he can shift, he can do it all as well. So he's a high level boxer. He's been in with Millie Willie Monroe. He's been in with a bunch of different lefties that are tricky. Daniel Jacobs went lefty on him. So it's not like he gets lost by the tricks. Has an extensive amateur background as well, and he's a good fighter. But finally, Charlo. Charlo is a unique matchup. I feel like Charlo's tall, has a good right hand, and I don't think he suffers with lefties as well. People are gonna mention that Maddie Coraball fight, and Charlo got switched on. He was fighting a righty, and then he ended up fighting a lefty. Now, that's a tremendous switch last minute to prepare for, and I understand why that could be a little annoying. But he struggled, but I still felt he won. Was it close? Yes. If Charlo puts his hands on Demetrius Andrade, how will he handle it? I know he's not used to fighting guys that are as tall as him. Fox gave him issues, who was tall like him. Sulecki, in moments, give him a little issues. He won those fights, but again, being in with the higher level guys, I feel like Andrade will start to show even more holes in his game and eventually will get exposed even more. But Demetrius Andrade, there's nothing wrong with being a champion. Like, you're good. I think pretty much where does Demetrius Andrade go from here? My theory is this. You're WBO champion, right? You're a titleist. I give you that. You have a belt. What I think is going to happen is Triple G is going to fight Murata, try to get another belt, have two. Then I think Triple G and Demetrius Andrade are going to fight to have three belts in the division. I think once that happens, all three belts are in one division. Charlo sees his little brother Jermall trying to unify and become undisputed champion. I can see Charlo and Demetrius Andrade if he beats Triple G, or Charlo versus Triple G in a unification undisputed fight. I know Triple G says, "Oh, I only want Canelo Alvarez. Oh, I only want this," but at the end of the day, when it comes to legacy, Canelo Alvarez is trying to become undisputed at 168. I don't think he's gonna wait that long because you hear that he's gonna fight Caleb Plant after Billy Joe Saunders if he wins. So his whole year is pretty much booked up, and Triple G, if he wants to get active, stay active, and continue to make the money that he's trying to make, I think he needs to fight to unify that title. And who knows, maybe Canelo moves back down to 160 and become a two division undisputed champion, whoever's the undisputed champion at the time. So it gets a little more interesting. I feel like the 160 division is going to pick up. And truthfully, I just think this fight with Demetrius Andrade showed that he's not as complete as people think. Liam Williams pushed him. Congratulations, you won. Oh, people are going to say I'm a hater. I'm this. Look, I don't hate Demetrius Andrade. I just hate when you say that the pound for pound number one fighter in the world doesn't want to fight you when he's in another division. Triple G, who is, I'm not going to sit here and say he's fought the best quality opponents, but he has fought people better and more accomplished with more fights than Demetrius Andrade. He's a hard fight, yes, but it's not impossible. And I think once you get to the higher levels, you just don't look as good as you want to. And Demetrius Andrade keeps using this excuse, "Oh, I'm champion, you got to get in the ring with me." But at the end of the day, you're in a business. People want to make as much money as they can. And if you're not going to sell pay-per-views, if you're not going to sit here and be exciting, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't think people want to fight you, make them have to fight you. Go out and try to unify. Collect all the belts, and I guarantee you someone's going to step up. So that's the episode for today. I don't hate Demetrius Andrade, but the Boogeyman died Saturday. He's not this really, really avoided fighter that anyone at the highest level can deal with. And he's a great fighter. I think he can beat the guys that I mentioned. I wouldn't be surprised if he did because he's a talented boxer. But you got to stop with this. Oh, no one wants to fight me. No one wants to fight me. Well, dude, you got to make them fight you. I don't want to hear, "Oh, this fight, he did this and looked badly, so people will get in the ring with me" stuff either. It's just getting ridiculous. Well, that's the episode for today. I feel it's good to be back, and I can't wait to release. I'm going to release 2, 3, 4 videos in the next day or two, so be on the lookout. Follow on Instagram if you're not, Good Boxing Podcast, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Like, Let me know your thoughts. I love when people opine. I love talking to you guys in the comments, so feel free to do so. Be well. Hit like if you like the video, and if you don't, dislike the video as well. I just love the feedback. Thank you, and be well.